All right, welcome. Today, we're going to do something really practical. We're taking this big, profound spiritual idea and breaking it down into a simple three-step strategy, something you can actually use like today to face whatever's coming at you. This isn't about theory, no way. This is all about what you can do.
So, let me ask you something right off the bat. Do you ever feel like you're just trying to control everything? You know that feeling? Just completely overwhelmed by worry? That constant pressure to manage every single outcome, fix every little problem, and figure out the next 10 steps all by yourself? I mean, it is absolutely exhausting, right?
But what if I told you there's a totally different way to handle things, a completely counterintuitive way to operate, especially when you feel like your back's against the wall? The source material actually calls this method a mystery.
And look, when we say mystery, we're not talking about something spooky or weird. Think of it like this. A mystery, in this sense, is just a hidden principle. It's like a different operating system for life. You can't see it running in the background, but once you know it's there and you understand how it works, you can totally work with it to get results.
So, how do we get a handle on this hidden operating system? Well, we're going to use this really simple but powerful analogy. It's just a story about a farmer sowing a seed. And this simple story you'll see is going to be our guide through this whole entire process.
All right, let's get right into it. Step 1. This is the first and honestly the most crucial step of them all. This is the part that is 100% totally on you. This is your moment to take action. So planting your seed, that's the active part. It's the doing. It's that specific moment where you put in the effort, you make a real choice, and you commit to a path because you're trusting in a principle. This part right here, this is your job.
Okay, so what does planting a seed actually look like in real life? Well, it could be as simple as finally making that decision you've been avoiding. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe it's actually starting the business. If you're a creative person, it could be stirring up the gift, actively developing your talent. It's that first concrete action you take. Okay, so you've done your part. You've planted the seed. Now comes step 2. And I gotta tell you, this is almost always the hardest part. It's definitely the most misunderstood step in this whole process.
So what is it? After you plant the seed, you go to sleep. Now hold on. This doesn't mean you get lazy or you just do nothing. Not at all. It means you have to deliberately let go of the outcome. You let go of the anxiety, the constant worrying, that urge to micromanage and check on the seed every 5 minutes.
Now there's a quote that just puts it so bluntly. You worry too much. Don't try to do what God should do. See, there's a separation of duties here. You have a part, and the process has a part. Your job, plant the seed. The process's job, make it grow. The real key to all of this is knowing the difference and staying in your lane.
And this is so important. Think about the farmer again. He goes to sleep not because he's lazy, but because he trusts the process. He knows the seed grows by itself. Once it's in the ground, something much bigger than him takes over. So that sleep isn't passive. It's actually an active expression of trust.
Okay, so we've planted the seed, we've gone to sleep. What's next? Well, step 3. And what's really fascinating about this part is how it completely reframes our expectations. This process is not about instant results. It's about learning how to see the progress along the way.
Because here's the thing. Results rarely just pop up out of nowhere. It's almost always a progression, something that happens in stages. So the real skill here, the real challenge, is learning to spot those first, tiny little signs that, hey, something is starting to happen, something's shifting. And the original story lays this out so perfectly. It says, first the blade, then the head, then the full grain. It's a timeline. Things unfold in stages. You've got to have the patience to see that first tiny little green shoot, the blade, before you can even think about the full harvest. There's this great story about Elijah, right? He was praying for this massive drought-ending rain. But what was the very first sign he saw? Just a tiny little cloud, literally the size of a man's hand. He could have dismissed it, but he didn't. He recognized it for what it was. It was the blade. It was the sign that the big rain was coming.
So, let's bring this all together. What's the point? How does operating this way actually change things for you when you're stuck in the middle of a problem? What are the real, tangible results?
First, let's be super clear. This is not just wishful thinking. There's a huge difference between faith and simple optimism. See, optimism is passive. It's just hoping for the best. But faith, in this system, is an active strategy. You've actually done something. You planted the seed, and now you're expecting a harvest because of the action you took.
And what does that active faith get you? Well, here are the real fruits of it. The first thing you'll notice is this inner peace, even when the problem is still staring you in the face. Then you'll get wisdom. You'll know what to do next. You might even find a way of escape, a solution you never saw before. And all of this gives you the strength to finally overcome that fear and doubt.
So, as we wrap this up, the big takeaway is this. You have the power to start the process. Change begins with your action. It starts when you plant a seed. So the real question for you is, right now, if you look at the field of your life, what seed will you plant today?